Hello everyone, here is Marco Zannini, 101 Caffè, and I am really pleased to open the new webinar. We will talk about the business plan, which is one of the most important topics that everyone has to consider when he would like to open a new activity. Our webinar are a sort of, a virtual space where you can get know-how, where you can understand how to make. There are a lot of topics, there are a lot of things to do in order to create a concept, in order to create a business, in order to run a company. And I believe and I hope that you will get experience from our webinars to get more experience for yourself, to become more skilled. So, how to set up a business plan to understand if your project is sustainable. This is me. I am the webinar speaker and I am the business developer of 101 Caffè. So our goal is to take the Italian entrepreneurial spirit and made in Italy quality across the borders. So the reason why the origin of 101 Caffè is the idea to bring something which is really Italian, which has a strong Italian identity, and bring it everywhere to any country in the world. How we transmit our know-how, how we transmit our brand everywhere in the world. We work by the franchising system. Franchising is a replicable business system. So it's something that we can transmit to others in terms of know-how, in terms of training. We work through a consolidated experience with 230 stores and coffee shops. We opened all over the world. We work with a range of products, which is the widest range of coffee and drinks for every coffee maker, so starting from beans. But with pods, with capsules, with any technology which exists in the world, and a range of original, high quality and eco-sustainable Italian products. So you find two directions for the range. One is for technology, and one is for category and customer satisfaction. Here you can see what we did in terms of our brand identity. So what we created last year. We created our own technology, which is called EtiCap. EtiCap is a technology where we mix quality and eco-sustainability. So we mix a capsule having 9 grams of coffee and 14 grams of drinks in a compostable capsule. So you can taste something really good, and later you can throw the capsule in just one can, in just one bin, with no issues for the recycling. Here you can see something about EtiCap as it looks in our stores, and you can see something more about our coffee shop. Our coffee shop is again a direction that always exists in the history of 101 Caffè. We improved the idea and the concept of coffee shop continuously. And here you can see the coffee shop we opened in Milan. So what are the most important topics inside, which are part of this webinar? We will talk about what are the keys to open a new business, even if we are in a time of economic crisis. Why could you open your 101 Caffè at this time? Why do you need to set up a business plan to open your business? how to set up a business plan to understand if a project is sustainable, and finally, what is my ideal business model. Now we start from the first one. So what are the keys to open a new business even in a time of economic crisis? So today I would like to open something. I have money for making an investment. I want to change my job. I want to increase my portfolio. I want to reconvert one activity that I already have. Okay, so I want to do something. What can I do? I will analyze what is the segment where I want to work. So what is the market? Okay, in our talking about 101 Cafe, the segment is coffee. Okay, coffee retail or coffee shop. But in any case, we talk about coffee. I will analyze what is the know-how, my know-how about the market. So also what I need in terms of know-how. I know what is my territory, so I need to understand what people is asking for me in my territory. I will need an activity which is omnichannel, so I can work in physical and in online. I need to understand what is the sort of relationship, the kind of relationship which I need to set up with the final customer. I will need for a concept which has flexibility in terms of range equipments and different models, as we are, in fact, because we can customize the proposition and the location based on what makes sense. Of course, a communication drive to sell and the technology. Technology today is very, very important. Technology is important to engage people, to reach people, and also to create connection and to solve issues in operations. So if you need 3, 4, 5 steps to complete one operation, this is very, very hard. Well, you can imagine when you have a lot of people in front of you in the cash counter, and you have just one guy or 2 people making the ticket. You can imagine how much efficient is the utilization for an application, for example, to make orders, or the QR code to scan the menu and make orders again. Furthermore, I got my point. So I know what I want, what is the category. I know what I want to open, why and where. Okay. Now, well, does it make sense to open 101 Cafe, or even if we are in economic crisis? Yes, yes. Talking about retail store, this is a model anti-crisis because retail, well, we opened a lot of units also during the pandemic because retail in food, retail can work at any time. Talking about coffee shop, we worked a lot in technology and operation to reduce the utilization of energy and people. So I mean that even if we are in a time of inflation, we have a model which is energy saving and people saving, so cost saving totally. Furthermore, we talk about a franchising business model. So this is probably the most important reason why you can open your 101 Cafe, even if we are in a complicated time. Because in franchise, you can profit about know-how, about a brand, reduce the risk because the franchisor already got a lot of experience. You can profit about range and economies of scale, so you don't need to work with huge minimum order quantity. You don't need to work with huge MOQ. You can work also with one box, with one carton, because we work with quantity. So you can work without quantity. You reduce your risk, you reduce your financial exposition. And finally, you have assistance. You have assistance in technical issues, in commercial issues, in management also issues, and also in training. So why could you also open your 101 Cafe today? Here you find a list of topics which are the region about what I told. So we work in many countries, so we have an experience which is not only the one of your territory, but an experience which comes from many countries, many different countries, many different culture, where we experience that some topics are repetitive everywhere. We are in food retail, and again, in food retail, you can work in any condition. Coffee and single portion drinks are a growing segment. The risk is reduced due to the franchise business model. We are an international brand. We work with a very well-established software system, working also in connection with our application. So we are omnichannel. We provide continuous training to people, also in replying to one-shot questions. And we are made in Italy. So this is positive. This is a strong engagement for people, very, very strong engagement. And the other one is the range. So you can study and have continuous new solutions for your unit. Furthermore, why do you need to set up a business plan to open your business? This is probably, well, this is the core of this webinar. And this is something that sometimes people don't know really. So what is the reason to build up a business plan? You can think that, okay, I have a lot of money, so I don't need a business plan, because I don't need to open an inquiry with a bank. I don't need to ask everyone, to tell everyone how much money I can get in my profit. But business plan is most of all for the franchisee. Is most of all something for the franchisee. I am the franchisee, I am an entrepreneur. I need to understand what is my perspective, okay, in many steps. But I need to understand what are my costs, what are my revenues, what are my margin, what is my potential turnover, what are my potential issues. Well, this is a sort of SWOT matrix. Any business plan includes all of the information connected with financial and economic questions, okay, with the sustainability of the investment and with the development of your activity. So the final target for a business plan is to provide a realistic budget about cost and revenues for not less than 3 years. So you can have an idea when your activity could reasonably reach the break-even point. The break-even point is, in my personal opinion, the most important data you can find in your business plan. So the most important data is not the turnover, but is the break-even. Because the turnover is sometimes a target, okay? So I tell myself, I want to make a big profit, I want to make a big turnover. This is more or less obvious. Everyone which invests money to open an activity would like to get a big profit. But your first target is to analyze what is your break-even point, to reach your break-even point, to cover all of the cost, because everything which is over the break-even point is profit. So why do you need a business plan to open your own business? It's necessary to define the financial requirement for your project. So I know that the global investment is 50, 100, 150, 200,000 euro. Okay, I know what is my financial requirement based on my personal project, of course. Of course, as a consequence, I can understand if I have money in my pocket, if this is dangerous for me, for my personal situation, and if it makes sense to make an inquiry to the bank. So maybe my investment is around 50,000 euro, is around 100,000 euro. I already have all of the money in my pocket, but I decide that I will invest 20 or 40,000 euro, and I will ask for the bank 30 or 60,000 euro. So it becomes my choice or my needful, because maybe I have in my pocket 10,000 euro, I need 40 more, I need 50 more, I need 70 more, so I need to understand how much money I need to ask for the bank. Furthermore, the business plan is necessary to predict eventual problems and find solutions. So what are my most important costs? What are my most important topics in my revenues in my pocket? And the business plan is useful to understand if the business I am is sustainable. What I mean that, of course, if I prepare a business plan, I have 5,000 euro in my pocket, and I want to open a big coffee shop, investing 150,000 euro, 200,000 euro, hiring 8 people in my staff, having a rent of 5,000 euro per month. Of course, this is totally not realistic. So I need to understand what is realistic for me. Okay, what I would like to do, why I would like to do it, and what I can really do. So if my project is sustainable. So we go directly to the fourth point. If my project is sustainable, how to set up a business plan to understand if my project is sustainable. I need to analyze honestly what is my equity, so the capital which is available. My equity is not my bank account. My equity is the capital that I want to invest for this project. So it's not important if I have 1,100,000, 10,000 euro in my bank account. This is not so much important to define what is my equity. My equity is what I am available to invest. So maybe I have 100,000 euro, but I am available to invest 20,000. I don't want to risk more. So this is my equity. The capital financed is the difference. So the global investment is 50,000. My equity is 20,000. So the capital financed is 30,000. This is mathematics. What are my revenues and what is their origin? So revenues and their origin. Revenues are coming from coffee shop, are coming from in details inside the coffee shop, are coming from ice cream, are coming from coffee, are coming from breakfast, or are coming from my market, so my store, which is independent or inside my coffee shop. Okay, so what is the origin of revenues? Okay, and what are the revenues? Because I need also to understand what is my margin, what is my potential, what is my development, what is my strategy. The same is for the costs. Well, when you prepare a business plan and you want to open a coffee shop, people have many ideas about what is a coffee shop. So sometimes people tell, okay, for me, the coffee shop is a place where I drink 1 cup of coffee. For me, the coffee shop is a place where I am open from the morning to the midnight. So I work with breakfast, with lunch, with appetizers, with ice cream, with dessert, with everything, okay? And well, sometimes my definition is in the middle. So I want to open up a coffee shop because I think about breakfast, but I will open at 13. Okay, so I work 7:13. But again, every time that you change your working hours and your idea, you change the revenues and their origin. Because 1 cup of coffee has a very high margin. but a very, very low ticket. So if you sell 1 cup of coffee, maybe you get €2. But if you sell coffee plus croissant, maybe you get 5. If you sell coffee plus dessert, maybe you get 8. If you also have the lunch, maybe you get 15. Okay, so your average ticket changes. Your business model changes every time that you change one module, every time that you change something. So when you prepare your business plan, you need to have an idea about what you would like to do. Revenues and costs are connected with it. When you talk about revenues, I discussed right now about the business formula and the customer's target, because I want to engage people for the lunch, for the breakfast, for the ice cream, for the coffee, and so on. But I also talk about the location and your profile. What about the location? If my location is big size, I have the space to place tables and chairs. When I have the space to place tables and chairs, I need to optimize the flows. So I need to invite people to stay inside, to take something more. So I need to provide them offer. I need to provide them also something more to stay down 30 minutes, 1 hour, and make not one order only for 1 cup of coffee, but 2, 3, 4 orders. By the other hand, if I have one location which is 25 square meters, I cannot have everything inside. I cannot have tables and chairs. I cannot work with lunch, probably, because lunch is something where you need space and time. Okay. And when I work with the cash counter, I will probably work in a 25 square meters. I will probably work with coffee, breakfast, maybe ice cream, but no more. What about your profile as entrepreneur? Well, today I want to open my coffee shop or my retail store. I approach 101 Cafe because I want to reconvert myself. So I want to change my job. I am alone. I don't want no one employed, no one. I am not someone which is looking for a coffee shop. I am someone which is looking for a retail store. By the other hand, if I am an investor, so I have other activities, I only want to invest money and make a profit, well, I will probably engage 101 Cafe to open up a coffee shop. So where maybe I invest more, but I can get more in profit. Cost and their origin are connected, most of all, again, with the same we discussed before. So location, profile of your profile as entrepreneur, the business formula, and the customer target. All of these topics are not connected with revenues only, but also with cost, because rent, it depends by the size and the kind of location. Salaries are connected with the kind of activity you are making, and also the place, because in downtown you are more flexible with the working time, with the working hours, also with the number of employees. But in shopping malls, you can choose. The shopping mall is the one which gives you the working hours. So you will need to cover the full hours, even if you have no visitors, even if you have no customers. Services are one cost, again, connected with the model, most of all the electricity. Products are one cost, which is usually calculated in percentage. So when you prepare a business plan, you need to consider the average margin. So if the average margin for your coffee shop is 75%, you will not calculate the single price, but you will calculate the general margin. Okay. Furthermore, we talk about shipment and customs. So when we talk about shipment and customs, it depends this is country based. This is not a fixed cost. You will have general costs connected with the sales as bank commissions, advertising, and others, royalties, of course, which are connected with sales, and the amortization, the return of your investment. What is the return of your investment? Is the time that you need to recover your investment in entry fee and equipments. Because you know that when you buy the goods, these are not considered as an investment because goods are about to be sold. So here you will see in the next slides what is the structure of a business plan as we prepared. So the business plan is the sum of sales at the first stage. So well, sales are connected with the business model and with the location. Well, with the topics we discussed before, with these ones. We consider to prepare the business plan with sales calculated per year, per month, per week, and daily average. Because you need also to have your budget and your perspective. Daily based, weekly based, monthly based, yearly based. Cost of production is connected in percentage with the sales, as I told you right now. Later we find the general cost, which are connected with monthly activities. So we talk about shipments, we talk about royalties, advertising for promotion and events, rent and fees connected with the rent, products you use in store for cleaning, for stationery, for others, the cost for bank commission payments or others. For example, if you have a credit with the bank, the telephone and internet charges, electricity, assistance and maintenance, most of all if you have equipments. So if you have a coffee shop and you need a continuous assistance, and furtherly and at latest the professionals. So your accountant, consultant, influencer, blogger, anyone else which is outside of you and outside of the franchise. General costs are at most connected with the territory. Okay, so you need to consider the cost compared with the results. You cannot consider that I will not open because the rent is high. If the rent is high, this is probably connected with a good potential for the location. So sometimes sometimes it's better to work with an higher rent because you can get an higher result. Sometimes it makes more sense to work with something which is balanced. So the rent is lower and also the final result is lower. But it depends by your risk profile and it depends by your target. Okay, because what is important for us is that the project is well based since the beginning. So the franchisee is clear what is the investment, what is the expected return, and what is the target he would like to get. So my salary, my profit, 3 salaries, 5 salaries, a plan of development, also as a multi-unit, also as a master franchise, anything else. The cost for salaries. The cost for salaries is really connected with your country. Sorry. So the choice about the business model will create a strong difference in terms of how many people you will have in your staff. Depending if you open in downtown or shopping mall, depending if you open a coffee shop or a retail store, depending if you open 100 hours per week or 40 hours per week, of course. So the surface, the number and difficulty in procedures, the working hours, and the peaks also in visitors are the main factor to define the cost for salaries. So if you expect to have 100 of visitors in 1 hour in the morning to get breakfast, I mean that you expect in that hour to have maybe 500 euro of turnover. So you cannot work with just one people in staff working to prepare the coffee, to prepare the breakfast, to make tickets, to work to also maybe to go to the table, to work alone with 100 of people, 100 of customers in 1 hour only. What about other costs? This is the last step. We talk about the amortization of the entry fee and the investment. Investment will change if the business model changes, and the difference could be very high in amount because equipments are much more expensive than furnitures. So if you build a shelving system, you have a low cost. If you build one counter having 5 meters of ice cream, the cost is much higher. So we come back to the point we analyzed before, that the most important topic is the break-even point, in my personal opinion. Again, this is not the turnover. I receive a lot of time the question, what can be my turnover? Your turnover is the result of your sales. Your turnover is not your profit. The other one question, what could be my profit? This is a tricky question because I can reply every time, well, you can get a huge profit, you can get a low profit, you can also lose money, but I cannot reply to you about a profit if I don't have details about what is your activity. Because your profit will depend about the sum of costs and revenues. And again, when you balance costs and revenues, so when you reach your break-even point, everything which is over the break-even point is profit. This is my usual reply. So you also have to consider that there are some sunk costs when you open up your activity, which are not included in the franchise, never. So the cost that you have to open up your company, the bureaucracy and local procedures with the local government or with the local municipality, the cost for permission, license, registration, and health certificate. Most of all, if you have the customs between you and us, the costs to restyle for the renovation of the location. So, you would like to open a retail, you would like to open a coffee shop. In any case, we cannot know in advance, and you cannot know in advance right now what can be the situation in your location, in your potential location. So if the roof is good or not, if the floor is good or not, if the walls are good or not, if you need to make a new license because you are making a renovation, so you need to add the toilet, you need to change the drainage point, you need to change the electricity, the electrical plant. So you need to make something which is sometimes not expensive, not relevant, but sometimes could be very expensive. And the last point is the customs registration for products. You maybe know that when we start in a new country which is out of European Union, The local regulation requires sometimes to the importer, so to our partner, to register the SKUs one by one. So we have a huge number of SKUs. You can select what will be your range, but if you have a range of 100 SKUs, you will have 100 of registration. So you will pay the fee for registration 100 of times. So you get positive performance through the constant analysis of sales data and the turnover budget ratio. So you need to analyze your performance constantly. Otherwise, no one business can work. The preparation, a correct preparation of the unit and of the windows to engage people, which are in line with company indication, but also in line with the customer's engagement. Adequate supply of the store. If your unit is empty, people will be disencouraged to enter and buy. Promotion, because they are engagement for people. Pleasant atmosphere and environment favorable to purchase. And last but not least, the quality also a relationship of your staff. The people which are selling the product or which are preparing food or which are making, which are face-to-face with the customer. The last one, so the fifth point in our discussion. What is my ideal business model? Oh, this is mine. So what is my profile as an entrepreneur? What is my profile as potential franchisee? So what is my segment? Also in my experience, I am also talking about your background. So you sometimes, we have people which comes to us with no background and which are very, very good franchisees. So you are not in position to have a background connected with coffee. No one in position. But in any case, we have a background, all of us. And your background could give you the idea that, okay, I prefer to open up a coffee shop because I want to make service, I want to make restoration, I want to make Ho.re.ca. Or I prefer, I want also to make staff, to have a staff. I'm not afraid to have staff to manage people. Or maybe I want to work with all of my family. By the other hand, there is the one which tell himself, oh, well, I have money, but I don't want to invest too much because this is a risky time. Furthermore, I don't want to have staff. So I prefer to open up a retail store because I am alone. I don't risk so much. I have my own job. This is my passion. I can work with it. And that's it. So what is my segment? What is my risk profile? Am I a self-employed? Self-employment potential franchisee? Am I multi-unit? So I want to open 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I want to develop a full territory, which is one country, which is one region, which is one portion. Again, why do I choose an Italian brand? So I engage 101 Caffè because I want to open up something with an Italian brand. This is very, very important because our identity is a strong engagement for the final customer. So if you don't believe in an Italian concept, it doesn't make sense that you engage yourself with 101 Caffè. You need to believe that one Italian concept is strong for your customers, is strong for you, and you want to work with it. Furthermore, again, am I a franchisee investor or I am looking for a self-employment? This is not only a question of money, but also a question of mentality. So what I want to do, what is my job? So I want to invest. I want to work with my family. I want to work with a short time because, well, my job is important, but I will work 35 hours per week, 40 hours per week, 50 hours per week, and the rest of the time is with my family. And well, do I need training? Sure. You always need training. If you believe that you don't need training, please close the webinar, exit the webinar, and stop it. And this is not a question of, well, we are not the best in the world, but of course we have experience in our job. And you decide to engage a franchise because you want the know-how of the franchise. The know-how of the franchise is partially the layout, but most of all is the training. So if you don't want to have training, if you think that you are already okay, you don't need to open a franchise. Here you can see some slides about our units. On the left side, one example of retail store. On the right side, one example of a coffee shop, having everything. The phases for the startup. Here we are. We got the details. Finally, we will open up the discussion for your questions. So the startup phases are every time. The first phase is that you need to understand what are the financial requirements for your project. So how much do I need to open? And what is my equity, of course. What is the location? So what is also the kind of location where I want to open? Okay. Do I start from looking for the location? Well, this is a frequent question. I frequently ask the question. I always reply people that part of our know-how is in location. So if you tell me, no, I start in looking for the location by myself, and you contact me after you found a good location, well, I am not sure about the result. If you are very, very skilled in commercial in your segment, so you want to open up a coffee shop and you already had a coffee shop, I can figure that you have a strong experience in your country, in your territory, and you are able to define if one location is good or not. But if you don't have a background, you cannot evaluate if one location is good or not. So in my personal opinion, you evaluate your financial requirement. You think about the kind of location where you would like to open, and later you come back to us for an analysis. The third step is the business plan. Of course, now I understood what are my financial requirements. I understood what is the kind of business I want to open and where I would like to open. I have the information to prepare roughly a business plan. Well, together with the franchisor. So I am always engaged by our franchisees, by our potential franchisees, to prepare the business plan. Furthermore, there are bureaucracy are local even if we have a potential franchisee which would like to open in Milano. And our headquarters are 10 kilometers south of Milano. Bureaucracy is always local. And of course, we can provide you our opinion about the rental agreement. Okay, so when you have an engagement from the landlord, we can give you our return if the proposition of the landlord makes sense or not. So, do you want to open your 101 Cafe store or coffee shop? Well, you can contact me. You can make any question about all of our models, and I will reply with my pleasure. You can consider that the minimum in equity that you need to have in order to open a retail store, is from 15,000 euro. If you would like to open up a coffee shop, a real coffee shop, So working all of the day, having breakfast, lunch, ice cream, bubble tea, market with a medium big size, you need to start with an equity of 45,000 euro, roughly. So now you can contact me by booking a meeting directly in my agenda. Now I open up the question with your questions. I am here to reply about all of your questions. Please don't be shy. This is never a problem. Of course, you can ask for what you need right now. You can ask for what you need also later by email, setting up a call, setting up a video call, and anything else. No one question? Well, I hope it was not boring. Okay, what is the size of the location? The size of the location changes depending by the model. When we discuss about a retail store, we start from 30 square meters plus a deposit. 30 square meters because we need to give also the impression, because this is through the feelings, that we have a range. So you can choose, the final customer can choose between many technologies, between many solutions, between many products. When we discuss about a coffee shop, of course, if the location is smaller, we can provide less solution. If the location is bigger, we can provide all of solution. So we start from 50 square meters, but when you think about a restaurant, for example, we suggest to start from 100 square meters. No, thanks to you. Thanks to you for being here. The webinar again is training. Is part of the training. Okay, so I wait for your engagement. I believe that most of you are already in touch with me. I keep you posted for the next webinar. We will make new ones. The next one will be probably the next month. So keep in touch. Have a nice evening. Have a nice weekend. Have a nice Eid Mubarak for people which are in Arabic countries, and get in touch. Thank you again.